What's happening, everybody? This is the Guided Trip Fly Fishing Podcast. We're going to try something new today, just to change it up just a tad. But we're going to do what we're going to call bugs and beer. And we're going to sit down, tie some bugs, talk about what we're tying, talk some stories, why we fish these bugs or why I'm tying them. And then we'll go from there. And so I encourage you, if you are going to, sit down and do this and hang out, listen to this podcast, do the same as I'm doing, sit down, have a beer, and relax a little bit, take it easy. As you can tell, most of these podcasts are pretty mellow. We do drink a lot of beer on the podcast, obviously. But that's the way it's supposed to be. And I do enjoy tying, and I do enjoy sitting down, either if it's after a guide trip or, even on a lazy Sunday like today. It's snowing up in the high country right now where I'm at, and so we got a crappy day outside. So sit down, tie some bugs, and hang out. Crack a beer and relax a little bit, because that's what fly tying should be. It shouldn't be a stressful thing. So we're gonna kind of go ahead and jump into it. And what I want to do is we're gonna be I'm gonna try and do this, if this catches on or whatever, we're gonna try and do it more, but I'm gonna try and do it seasonally, as we go through it. So as we're coming up on the spring season, everybody is gonna be trying to tie bugs and gear up, either if you're a guide or not, or you're just a fisherman and you just like tying bugs, whatever. But so we're gonna go over a couple bugs that I like to tie and get ready for the spring season, especially. And so the first bug we're going to start out with is going to be a Pat's rubber legs. It's also called a pickle. It's also called a girdle bug. There's lots of different terms and ways to tie it as well. I'm going to talk about the way I like to tie it. And we're just going to sit down, have a beer, and we'll get started here. All right, so the Pat's rubber legs it's a great kind of staple for my box, at least. It's a stonefly pattern, and for as simple as it is, it's a very realistic stonefly pattern and is a very effective stonefly pattern. It's definitely one of those in my box where it's almost a staple, where it's like I gotta have this. And a lot of times with clients throughout the summer, obviously depending on the year, but a lot of times it's almost the first bug I'll throw on a hopper dropper rig or something like that. All right, stonefly's coming. And you can tie it in a variety of sizes. I've seen them all the way from, sixes and all the way up to, or down to 12s. I'm going to start with some 12s today. I like to call it the baby pickle or the mini Clausen. There's a lot of different terms. But double pickle is kind of what I like to go with. So we're going to go with a 12. And this hook is going to be, I'll kind of write up some notes when we do this, and put some information in there when I post it. But it's going to be, what I'm using today is it's a Dairiki hook, and it's a 730, size 12, and you get 50 of them for about, $7 or so, $8, which is a pretty good deal. Obviously Umpqua has a good hook. I think that would probably be at 52.63, if I'm correct there. And then, but I personally, if I'm balling on a budget, I'm going to go the Dairiki, just because I tie so many of them and I blow through them really fast. And either they go in trees or whatever, I'm throwing money into the trees basically, or hooking on rocks, or hooking on bottom, or, going into my back or my ear or something like that. So I'm going to use just a little bit, cheaper hook. That's just my personal thing. Like I said, I have my own reasons for it. So Dairiki 730 is what I'm using today. And then you can use, I like the Ultra Thread, the UTC Ultra Thread. You can use 140, if you're going a size 6 or even to a size 8, you can use 140. If I'm dropping it down, I even like to use, 70, on my size 8s. Just, you don't really need to build up too much thread on these flies. Yeah, obviously you need it to be strong, but I think 70 in UTC is pretty damn strong, for the application we're doing, at least. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ready here. And I'm using black. So for this Stonefly 2, we're going to use different chenille, variegated chenille, or it depending on the color you like. So my favorite color of the Pat's Rubber Legs is going to be um, I like black, I think the best, but I also like the coffee chenille, the variegated coffee chenille. Um, or brown and black is a good one, dark brown and black. And then a kind of a hidden little secret, what I like to use as well is the purple. And I use all these in a medium chenille. Like I said, all the way from size 6 to size 12. I'll use the medium chenille. And you can kind of pick and choose. You can also look up online. Charlie's Flybox has a great selection of shout out to Charlie's. But hopefully I can say that. They have a great selection of online store where you can buy different chenilles. Where I go here in town, Gene Taylor's in Gunnison. Also, shout out to Gene Taylor's. They have a ton of chenille that I like to use. And medium chenille, like I said, variegated in black or coffee, which is going to be like a light brown and black, or the brown and black, or purple. Purple's a it's a it's a hidden gem. I don't think a lot of people have fished it yet. Not a lot of people know it. But if you tie up some pickles in purple, and you're bound to, on those days when certain colors aren't working, it's gonna pick up some fish. And reason why we kind of change the colors, you can also tie golden. You can go golden and black, yellow and black. You can tie them in green. It all kind of depends on what color stonefly you're trying to imitate. What kind of what shuck or what color or what molting phase they're in or whatever. Sometimes they're on the black, sometimes they're on the brown, sometimes they're on the coffee. It really just kind of depends. And depending on the area you're at, you'll have to figure that out. There's days I've thrown coffee all day, and it's good. And then the next day you go to coffee and you're throwing coffee, and you maybe pick up a fish here and there. Then all of a sudden you go to black, and it's boom, 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 boom. Rip snorting. So play with it a little bit, and definitely have a variety of colors. Like I said, tie it in a golden, tie it in a black, tie it in a purple if you want. But we'll also post a picture, of my box of pickles. Pickles, I mean, you got to have pickles as a staple, especially as a guide around here and any kind of western stream. I mean, all the way into Idaho and Montana. I mean, the pickle crushes it. Like I said, it's cheap to tie. It's easy to tie as well. So we're just gonna walk through it real quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and load up one of these in the vise. Like I said, this is size 12. Dairiki hook 730. And I'm gonna load this puppy up. I'm gonna tighten that down. And you can tie these, I've tied them with beads before. A lot of guides like them with beads because they want them to get down. They want them heavy, tungsten beads. But I'll use wire. I like to use lead wire. And there's different substitutes for that as well. But most of these, I'll use the .025 lead wire. And just kind of depending on how much weight you want in there, is how many wraps you're going to do. On a size 12, I'm not going to do too many wraps here, but I think I did maybe 10 wraps there. Let's do one more just in case. And also, there's great tutorials online for this. Obviously I'm not doing a video, so you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of bullshitting, seeing what happens here. That's the way I've been doing it. Seems to be going okay. All right, so once you get that lead on, we're going to go through and we're going to cinch that down. We're going to start our thread. I start it right at the eye of the hook, and I'm going to go over my thread with some wide space, go over my lead with some wide spacing. And then I'm going to come back over it, kind of crisscross and cinch it down a little bit. You do want to keep maybe about an eye width up front, just so you can, once you get towards the end, you can tie it in and be able to get a good whip finish, and you're not burying that eye too much. Let's go ahead and cut our tag in. So for our legs on this bug, if you look it up, and like I said, I'll show pictures, but if you look it up, you'll be able to see the legs on this guy. Some people call it sexy floss. It's been called a lot of different names, but what I'm using, it's from a company called Uni Products, and it's Uniflex. And like I said, Charlie's Flybox has this, and they have it in a variety of different colors. But it actually comes on a spool, and I'm pretty picky about my legs. I don't want them to be too curly. I like them to be pretty straight. That's just my personal choice. But honestly, on this spool, it works out pretty well. And it's not curled up at all once you take it off the spool. I do a little bit at a time and then, cinch it back down on the spool. There's a little notch you can put it back in. But we're going to tie these two back legs in real quick. And I'm using a camel color. And I'm going to tie it in. It's hard to explain if you're not seeing it, but I tie it a little bit differently. I'll have to figure out how to show some pictures of this. But anyways, we're just going to tie in these legs on the back here, trim them down a little bit, trim to size, whatever. You'll probably have to look this bug up online. But what I'm going to do is I tie my two back legs in off the spool, and then I'm going to tie my chenille. We're going to go, let's go with coffee. We're going to tie some coffee colored. Same thing with this to save some time and materials is I'm just going to keep it on. I'm not going to cut a certain length off or anything. I'm just going to keep it on the cardboard little spool that it's on and tie it in. And I can still wrap it with that. There's a little notch in there, and I just keep it on that spool. And that way I'm not really wasting any materials. I get to keep it all together, and so I'm not cutting off certain sections going, oh crap, that's not enough for the next fly. I basically cut it right off the spool and leave it on there so that everything's all gravy when and that's me being anal, and my personal preference is I like to try to save as many materials as I possibly can. We're gonna do this. We're actually gonna do a quicker version of this fly just because it's smaller and I don't have enough room to put too many legs on here because it is a 12. But I mean, this fly is an awesome stone fly. Like I said, it's fairly easy to tie. What you can do as well is I've fished this as a streamer almost. If you can throw it behind a streamer. I've seen people throw it behind streamers as a trailer, and I mean, fish will just crush this fly. It's very buggy, and I think that's why it's a great pick and choice for guides and anglers alike. We like this bug a lot. And we fish it a lot, especially around here in Gunnison. We do have a lot of stone flies, and around the Gunnison Valley, we have a lot of stone flies. So I'm just gonna so I tied some legs in the middle. Like I said, you can't see this, but I'm just kind of goofing off a little bit. And if you like it, you like it. Maybe I'll do a video at some point. I don't know. I don't have a video camera. I don't know how to do that. But I'm gonna tie in all my legs first, and then I'm going to wrap my chenille. So I tied my back legs, and then I'm gonna tie in my chenille, and then I tie all the rest of the legs on there. I kind of go all the way up the body, tying my legs. Now I'm tying the antennae. I still call them legs, but they're antennae, I guess, on a stonefly it would be. And I'm gonna get that all set up, and then I'm just gonna wrap this chenille. Let's see if I can do this without my microphone being in the way. I haven't done this before, but I'm gonna wrap my chenille up and watch out for these legs. And I'm just gonna, I don't overlap it too much. I don't really need to build up the body too much because the lead underneath does that for me automatically. And so I just kind of keep wrapping all the way up until the end. Yeah, I like this color a lot, especially for the mini pickle. And then, like I said, you're going to want to leave a little bit of room for the head so you don't bury it too much. But, and this will take some practice to kind of figure out. But basically, we're just going to cinch it down a little bit. Give it a cut. Boom. Got ourselves a little mini pickle. And then we're going to whip finish it. I like the mini pickles too because, let's say maybe you got I don't know, if you're throwing in the spring, you got a worm on or something like that, and then you go, if you're throwing a hopper dropper, let's say you're throwing a hopper dropper and your hopper can only take so much weight on underneath, then the mini pickle's great, just a little bit of weight. It maybe weighs, as much as like, I don't know, it's 16 2-bit or something like that, 2-bit hooker fly. So the mini is definitely good to have. It's good to have in your arsenal. So whip finish, cut our tag in, And then I super glue all of my nymphs. Maybe that's just me. And I don't know, honestly, with a bug like this, I don't think it makes too much of a difference to add just a little dab of super glue on the end of this, where you covered up that, or you whip finished it. And it lasts a little bit longer if you can add a little bit of super glue. Because honestly, I hate when I'm out there and, let's say this fly is hot that day and it's crushing it, and then all of a sudden it falls apart. It's like, well, what the hell is that about? Um, so I super glue all of them around the head there where I whip finish. Like I said, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. I don't think fish are gonna, once it dries every time, I don't think fish are gonna be like, oh, that fly's got super glue on it. That's kind of funny. So just a little dash of super glue, but I love this fly under a hopper, big hopper, chubby Chernobyl or something like that. Even a size 8. I'll usually throw this as a size 8 underneath my hopper, so as my point fly there underneath. Well, I guess it'd be a dropper then. So underneath my hopper, I'll throw that. Maybe 2 feet or so down, 2.5 feet, depending on how deep I'm trying to get. Though, um, size 8 black pats or something like that, and then maybe something below it if you want to go 3 flies. You can throw, depending on what's working or whatever. But with clients, I usually start with that. It's a pretty good rig. It gets down quick, which is nice. If you tie it right, I usually go eye to eye when I tie this on. That way, that hook kind of sits up a little bit and it's not constantly grabbing bottom. If you tie your first end of tippet from your hopper to that stone and you go right to the eye, and then your next dropper you're going down to the hook, it sits differently, and that hook drags bottom a little bit. So um, I started going eye to eye with these, and I think it's made a huge difference on losing flies and hookups on bottom. And I don't think it's really compromised hookups on fish at all. And I think it looks a little bit buggier. I mean, if you look at it, um, when you tie it on, you're like, well, that looks pretty goddamn buggy. Um, so I mean, like I said, you can't see it, but we're talking about the pickle a little bit. So I just whipped up a little size 12, and I'm gonna continue to whip up a couple of these here and drink my beer and talk to you guys about this bug. Last year I was actually in the spring. When was it? Maybe March or April. I was on the Arkansas floating with a buddy and a buddy old bluntmouth actually, and we were throwing hopper dropper with the pickle on it. They were eating the pickle in the morning, then all of a sudden they kind of stopped, and what we started doing was twitching our hopper a little bit more. We'd make a big mend and move that hopper, and we'd kind of continue to mend. The wind was blowing, and I mean, we were moving pretty quick, so we were just kind of goofing off. But you'd move that hopper, and it would give that Pat's rubber legs a little bit more twitch and a little bit more movement, and all of a sudden you'd start catching more fish. And so we started almost fishing our hopper rigs like a streamer. It was a pretty wild time. I've never done anything like that before, and honestly, we got more hits on our hopper too. Doing that, from the boat, we'd hit the bank, get a good mend at first, and then we'd start mending it and move that hopper and twitch that Pat's rubber legs underneath. All of a sudden, it was boom, 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 start picking up more and more and more fish. I was like, this is an interesting way to do it. But that just shows you, both those bugs are very versatile, and just the movement in those bugs can get the fish's attention a little bit. So think about that when you're fishing it. If try anything try anything new, and that's definitely, I'd never tried that before. And my buddy showed me that day, and he's like, hey, check this out, this kind of interesting little mend. You get more hopper ticks this way, just that little twitch. And all of a sudden it was boom, 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 and they're smoking the hopper, smoking the Pat's rubber legs, and it's like, wow, this is a great time, man. I mean, this is working out pretty well. So definitely keep that in mind, and change it up. Try everything new. So I'm gonna whip up a couple more of these, and we'll continue to talk about it a little bit. And I'll do some different colors and stuff. Like I said, you're not seeing it, but if you want to sit down, and if you know how to tie pats, or if you just want to sit down and tie and listen to this, then make it feel like we're just hanging out, drinking some beer, tying together. I don't know, man. Check it out, men, women. I don't know who's listening to this. Somebody hopefully is. All right, let's whip up another one of these 12s, right? Yeah. So, and I mean that's really up to you too. What hook style you want to go with, or company, or whoever. I think I love the Umpka or Teamco hooks. I think they make a great hook. They're sturdy, they're nice, they're solid. But like I said, if I'm balling on a budget, then I'm going for these Dairiki hooks. Just and they're readily available to me at where I shop, and so if you never tied a Pat's rubber legs before, I encourage you to look up a video or tutorial, or maybe who knows, in the future we'll try to do some video tutorials, like I said. But I don't have a video camera, so I don't know how that's possible. But the Pats you can also find, even on Charlie's website, Charlie Craven's website. You can go to the fly box and you can search. I think he has it under there as Pat's rubber legs. He might have it under the girdle. I can't remember. But he does great photo tutorials, and he walks you through the entire thing. He even sells everything that you need for it on his online store, and so he'll break down a list of everything you need. But we will too in the description of this podcast what you're looking for to tie this bug. But check it out. I encourage you to do that. I do that a lot too. If I'm going, oh man, how do you tie the tongue teaser again? Or hey, how do I do this? I can't remember. Or if I need new ideas of something to tie, then I'll definitely get on Charlie's website, because he's got tons of flies on there, and he does great picture tutorials and walks you through the entire thing. And some might shame me for that. Oh, what are you doing looking at Charlie's fly box? You should know how to tie flies. Well, I mean I do. But it's a great resource. If you have it there, why not use it? I'm not going to sit here and go, well, I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to do it. I definitely like that resource, and I encourage everybody to look at it and check it out, because it is a good resource. And he does very, very, I mean, like I said, to a T. I mean, he talks about it, tie up to the 75 percentile of the hook, do this, do that, tie in your material here, and then you're going to go up to the 60% hook, of the hook. And it's pretty cool. And it helps you if you're new to tying. It definitely helps you walk through some things. I'm sure, Orvis probably has some stuff too, and everybody's got their little gig, but, I definitely like looking at Charlie's and it's cool too, because he breaks down everything. I mean, this is a big shout out. He breaks down everything, like who created the fly, where did it originate? What guide or what tire, started this fly, and how should you fish it? What should it be used for? Best colors, I mean, he breaks it down pretty much all of it to a T, and it really helps you understand the fly a little bit better before you go to fish it. And I'm terrible with names, so sometimes I forget. But I like to hear where the fly came from, and people are into that. And this guy tied that fly, and I looked it up just a second ago, and I honestly forgot his name. I don't want to screw it up. I might have to look it up again here. Who first tied the Pat's rubber legs? I think it was a guide out of Idaho. I'm terrible with this crap. I should be better, being a guide, and people should be like, "Oh, how do you know where this fly came from?" Um, I'm just not a names person. Pat's rubber legs. Let's see. I think it's, like I said, I don't want to screw up his name. Patrick. It might be Patrick something. Patrick Hinsey, maybe. Oh, sorry, Pat Bennett. My bad. Um, Island Park, Idaho. My bad. Sorry. Well, now I got it right. Pat Bennett created the Pat's rubber legs. It had to be somebody named Pat, right? Like I said, I like to call it the pickle, the girdle bug, but the pickle's my favorite. So you'll hear me refer to the pickle a lot. And one of my buddies, Ryan McVeigh, I did a podcast with him not too long ago, but we talked about the double pickle. Or we do like to talk about the double pickle. We fish the double pickle a lot. We'll go like a size 8 to a size 12. If we're down fishing in the Gunnison Gorge or something like that, and that's a killer way to fish it. And I'll do it on the gunny too during runoff as well. Springtime is a great time to fish the double pickle rig. And I mean, fish it hard, fish it along the banks. Try and, because it does sink, it does have that lead weight in there. It gets down pretty quick. So it is good along those banks too. I mean, you hit a bank or a deep bank or a cut bank or something, it'll get down. The staple. It's amazing too when you don't think they're eating it, and all you got to do is you change up your color or how you're fishing it, or the size even, and then all of a sudden it's game on again. You're like, whoa, that's cool. So like I said, don't be afraid to change up things, positioning and size and color. And I'm just gonna beat a dead horse here. Sweet. All right, that one's done too. So, I mean, these are pretty easily, there's 3 materials. You don't need much, some lead wire, some rubber legs, and some chenille, and some, I guess, 4 materials because you need thread, obviously. But they're very, very, you can whip them up pretty quick. That's why also it's a great guide fly. And I mean, we'll show the picture of my box, the pickles in there and how many I fish. And different variations and sizes and everything. But I mean, I've seen people on the Gunnison, I've seen them throw, like I said, those big 6s or, I mean, I don't know if I'd go bigger than a 6, but who knows, maybe. But I think 8's my favorite. I kind of quit tying them in the 6. That's just my personal opinion. I don't like the 6 that much. So I tie them in an 8, a 10, and a 12. And I think the 8 works out pretty well. I think the 8's a good color. A good size. Excuse me. Can't be the beer because I've only had one. I haven't even had one yet, but so yeah, check it out. I mean, look it up. Do your research. It's cheap to tie. It's easy to tie. And you can crank them out, man. I showed my buddy that Ryan McVeigh. I didn't show him the pickle, but I showed him the double pickle. He's like, "Are you serious? You're gonna throw a double pickle?" I was like, "Dude, death from above, man. The double pickle, the mini Clausen. That's what old Bluntmouth calls it, the mini Clausen. What would that be? A cocktail pickle with a gherkin? Is that what there are? Gherkins? Vlasic? You can't really call it a Vlasic. That's not very cool. Pickle just works better. I guess the mini Clausen's pretty badass. All right. So you can crank out a couple of these at a time, and sit down and really tie some different styles, and go go purple, go brown, black. Don't go purple, actually. Purple's my color. Save the purple. But yeah, check out this fly. It's an awesome stone fly. Like I said, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, so I'm gonna give up on this guy. But if you have any questions about this, or concerns how to fish it, anything, let me know. Email me it's theguidedtrip@gmail.com, all one word, no capitals, no lowercase, or all lowercase. So check it out, and send me an email if you got something to say about the pickle or the girdle bug or Pat's rubber legs, whatever you want to say. And I hope you do fish it. It's an awesome bug. If you haven't heard of it, sorry, I feel bad for you, because it's one of those bugs that it's a staple, man. It's the pheasant tail, of the stonefly world. You got to have it. So this is going to complete our first kind of bugs and beer, and we'll go from there. I hope you enjoyed it. It was short, it's fast, it's to the point. Drink a beer for me, sit down, and relax, tie some bugs, man. Had a good time. Check us out next time. Thanks, guys.